The amount of NASCAR memorabilia on major retailers has been on decline for many years. At one point, you couldn't even walk into a store without seeing some sort of NASCAR sponsored display or a photo of a stock car on the wall. But now, in 2021, with the sport's overall viewership being lower than the 2000s, we can still relive the good old days by visiting the toy section at various major stores throughout America. In this video, I'm going to briefly give a summary about the history of these 1/64th scale diecasts, explain the differences between these and other NASCAR diecasts, and tell you everything you need to know about NASCAR Authentics. Somewhere usually between the Matchbox and Disney Cars vehicles, you can find these $5 diecasts in vibrant packaging that is fairly similar to the more popular Hot Wheels boxes. Today, these diecasts are produced by Lionel Racing, which is Lionel LLC, although you guys probably know them as the Model Train Company. Lionel took over the role of producing NASCAR Authentics in 2016 after Spinmaster produced their own diecasts for a number of years. However, Spinmaster was not the first company to manufacture diecasts to be sold in stores. Hasbro produced their own Winner Circle branded diecasts for many years, going until 2010. They not only had 1/64s, but also 1/24s that you could find in Walmart. Although the 1/24s weren't nearly as detailed as the action racing collectibles cars, they were still an awesome thing for children and adults alike to collect. In 2011, a new company emerged out of nowhere to produce their very first NASCAR diecast models. Although I can appreciate the effort that this Canadian-based company put into producing their diecasts, I have a love-hate relationship with them. One of my biggest pet peeves was their horrendous-looking molds. In my opinion, the car's proportions were just awful. They were really wide, yet they weren't long enough. They also had tires that were like double the width of Hasbro's diecasts. They also had some frustrating inconsistencies that I won't go into in this video, but if you want to see them, check out David Land's reviews of their cars. They produced diecasts up until the end of 2015. Many people, myself included, were mildly worried about whether we'd ever see NASCAR diecasts in stores. That was until 2016 when Lionel Racing figured they'd have a go at selling diecasts in major retailers. I can still remember that day I went into Target and saw Wave 1 of NASCAR Authentics with the Lionel Racing logo on the back of the box. It came out of nowhere for me since I hadn't really seen any tweets about it, so naturally I was pretty excited. If I recall correctly, I picked up Gordon's Final Ride diecast as I really like the silver color of it. Going back to David Land, we can actually thank him for the term Wave for NASCAR Authentics, as that is what he called every new set of cars released from Spinmaster. Now for the differences between the modern-day Authentics and Lionel's Gold series of diecasts, their online and vendor-exclusive diecasts. There's actually a lot that you might not immediately notice. One of the most noticeable differences is the price. These cars will set you back about $5-ish depending on where you live, whereas the Gold series cars can set you back well over $10. Another difference deals with the interiors of the cars. The Authentics, with the exception of the Ptc Factory diecast, which I'll get into later, have a grayish-white interior, whereas the Gold Series diecasts have black interiors. The bottom chassis of the car, however, is the same all around with the identical grayish-white plastic. Another difference is a more recent change with the absence of the banner on the front and rear windows. This change took place in 2017 when Monster took over as the series sponsor. Due to licensing restrictions, as Lionel puts it, they couldn't put the banner on the diecast because Monster Energy felt that their product wasn't suitable for a targeted audience. However, when Monster ended their title sponsorship run last year, the banners didn't return. Although I don't know exactly why they didn't return to the Authentics cars, I would imagine it was a cost-saving measure. One last major difference is the box. When you purchase a Gold Series diecast, you get a resealable box that has flaps on the left and right sides. However, when you purchase a NASCAR Authentic, you get a box which is similar to a Hot Wheels car that you tear open and can't reseal. You also get a magnet, a sticker, or some other form of a trinket, which, that's kind of cool. Now, one really important thing that you need to know is how these cars are released. They're in waves, and we get a wave about every month or so, and there's 9 or 10 cars in these. They were usually revealed on Lionel's YouTube channel, but due to restrictions from COVID, they've seemed to have stopped making these reveals on their YouTube series called The Fix. There is also now one car in every wave that is a special liquid color finish, which this tradition started in 2018, Wave 7, with the Dale Jr. Hellman's Camaro. Unfortunately, losers out there scalp these cars and flip them on eBay for a profit, so the chances of you finding one of these is fairly low. There are also race version diecasts released in these waves, which are mostly NASCAR Authentics lines exclusives. We also can get lucky from time to time where we receive a car on a Wave that was an exclusive paint scheme that DMP'd, or did not produce, or was also not offered by Lionel for pre-order. Now, for the NASCAR Authentics name kind of being a brand within Lionel Racing, you should also know that they produce 1/64 scale haulers and on and off have been producing 1/24 scale diecasts, which are really just crummy attempts at making a budget diecast. Another important part of the NASCAR Authentics 1/64 scale diecast is the factory that they're produced in. Now, this is a section I don't know a whole lot about, but I do have a basic understanding of it. The main factory that has produced all but one of the NASCAR Authentics Waves is known in the community as the Wls Factory. Now, there is also a factory called the Ptc Factory, which more commonly produces program cars, which are diecasts sold alongside the race programs at the track. And lastly, there is the Wls Factory. Now, I'm sure I made quite a few of you guys cringe by hearing WLS once again, but this is an important detail. Now, Lionel used these factories mostly because they produce cars quicker, but they did anything but make the community happy. These cars were terribly made and had way too many flaws, making many collectors question whether they wanted to keep buying diecasts. The tires had this awful looking font that looked nothing like was on track, and the decals were more commonly placed crookedly or had massive bubbles and chips. For Authentics, they were almost exclusively produced in the EL factory, except for Wave 12 in 2018. Now, I don't know the whole story, but from what I've been able to gather, Lionel was pressed for time to produce this Wave and outsourced the production of the Wave to the Ptc Factory. As soon as this Wave was revealed, fans were not happy. These cars are once again manufactured with those crummy Goodyears and terrible decals along with a black chassis and interior, but Lionel didn't really seem to care. They just wanted to pump out another Wave, and it was evident that this was rushed. I can also remember these cars sitting for months on the pegs at my local retailers because nobody wanted to buy that junk. There was also a hilarious error in this Wave regarding the liquid color chase piece. Eric Jones' Craftsman Camry was the car of choice to receive a special edition liquid color release, yet the normal finish of this car was never produced. The Ptc Factory actually only made the liquid color version of this car, making it the least valuable chase piece in Authentics history because it was made at the same quantity of every other car on the Wave. Now, another thing that Lionel Racing has experimented with in the past was the bonus Wave. Although only making appearances in 2017 and 2018, the bonus Wave was a release of Gold Series cars in Authentics packaging for only $5. Now, I'm not quite sure what the criteria was for a car to be included in this Wave, but I really miss this because it was a great opportunity to snag some good cars for an even better price. I also couldn't forget to mention the Daytona Wave, which was released in 2018 and 2019, and had cars along with a schedule card, so you could look at the races for the upcoming year. These are usually found at end cases in Walmart, but I have been seeing people finding them in their Targets recently. And that concludes everything you need to know about NASCAR Authentics. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This took me a lot of time to produce, and I would appreciate it if you gave it a like. Once again, this has been me2407. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Bye!